9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. What an absolutely fun night we had last night in Hendersonville at J Street Korean Grill and Bar. Thank you to everybody for coming out, making me and my wonderful wife feel so at home in the Super Talk family, the Super Talk orbit, as some will say. It was awesome. Mac, you were there.
Total blast, man.
Dude.
Just some great listeners.
We have the best people listening to us in the entire radio world. I've worked at a lot of radio stations. I've never encountered a group of listeners like the Super Talk listeners. Just so many good people.
Yeah,
so
genuinely good support for this station, and it was just so nice to meet some people and put some faces to names in the super text line. You know, we got some regular people. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, oh my gosh, I've seen your text.
Ann from the super text line said, "I love it when you go Ann said." So shout out to Ann. It was so great meeting Sharon, Tim, and Bernadette. I talked to them for the longest time.
Nice.
They have 4 kids like I do, so we were talking shop on parenting.
Great.
Tim Jones from Sumner County, and those guys were great. Judy, I can't remember where she was from. She was wearing a red outfit. She was awesome. Judy was great. And then I met another guy named Chris, who was also from Massachusetts.
Yes. I met Chris, too. He's the disc golfer. Yes, me and Chris got to talk a lot, man. Yeah, it's so many great people.
So many great people. I was so excited to be able to meet everyone. I'm sorry if I didn't have a chance to say hello to you. We had to run because the babysitter had school the next morning.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. So next time we got to do like more of a late night thing on the weekend.
Yeah. So they can actually say, hey, I have class, you know? Yeah.
Dude, it was awesome.
Cool.
I had so much fun. And I was so impressed with how much people love you, Mac. Everybody that came to talk to me had something nice to say about you. So, like, I was setting the record straight about you all night.
You were like, guys, he's not that cool.
Chill out. He's kind of a jerk.
No, it was super nice, though. People had so many nice things to say about our show, and it was awesome, man. We're just so excited that you guys are listening. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, and it's so cool. I mean, we're the newest show on Super Talk.
Yep.
You know, we want to be here for you guys, and it was so nice to get your feedback, and you know, just chat with you about life and everything, and put, like Max said, faces to the super texters.
Yeah,
because I always say, you know, I got Mac in here, I got Ken in the newsroom, but the most important member of our crew is you on the super text line at 615-737-9986. We're crowdsourcing information. Sending in counter opinions, sending in counter arguments to what we're saying, pushing back on the narratives, bringing the funny, crowdsourcing the jokes. Like, we need it. We love you guys. And the super texters are texting in now. Great to meet you and your wife, Virginia. That was Tim Jones just texted in. Thank you, Tim. 4083 said, how was the food last night? You know, to be honest with you, I'm so happy that I did the video beforehand so that way I could have the food. Because after the broadcast, I spent the entire night just chatting with people. Yeah, I didn't have a chance to eat. I did get some of those fried dumplings on the way out to go.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Me and my wife ate those on the ride home, and they were awesome. They were absolutely awesome. But the food at J Street Korean Grill and Bar is fantastic. If you didn't have a chance to go out there, make sure you check those guys out in Hendersonville. The restaurant is just top notch. Very, very good. Very good food.
Super cool place, too. Great layout.
So cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
When football season starts, we'll have to.
I was about to say, seriously, I didn't think about it like that, but there's a bunch of TVs, that huge projector, the sound system was solid. Yeah, it was fun, man. It was a great time.
And then I found out you're going to the Tennessee UVA game at Nissan.
Dude, yes, I didn't even get to talk to you about that. I was talking to your wife about that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He's going? Yeah, no duh, because you guys are Virginia fans, but that's okay.
Listen, so I grew up, it's so funny. I grew up in Massachusetts, so I always joke, my wife married into all the Boston teams that she has to deal with.
Gotcha.
Mainly the Celtics, and they always steal the holidays from my wife.
Go Seas.
They're always on her birthday, on Valentine's Day, on Christmas.
Yep.
So when the schedule gets released, I'm like, hey, they only stole your birthday and Christmas and Valentine's Day this year, but Arbor Day will be great. They
left that open.
So I had to, when she grew up outside of Charlottesville, so I had to marry into UVA.
Totally fair.
It's just, that's the trade.
Well, it's a good school.
It's a good school.
That'll be good. And I'm glad that they get to come to Nissan, so that'll be great. I'm glad you guys are going, too.
It's
and
awesome.
The kids are going?
Yeah.
The whole fam.
So my wife was so shocked because she said, we bought, my mother and father-in-law are coming into town for the game. So we got 7 tickets. And my wife was like, Mac is so on point because he said, well, which kid isn't going to go? Because
doing the math,
you did the napkin math. You're like, 4 kids, 2 of you, 7 tickets. Well, somebody has to miss the game. No, the baby is going to be sitting on the lap.
For free.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Yes.
We take advantage of those free tickets as long as we can. It gets to the point where it's like, my 5-year-old, I'm like, hey, you're 3 for the day. He's like, I'm not 3. I'm like, you're 3.
Just be 3.
Down.
Shush.
Yeah, I'm like, you're 3.
In this economy, son.
do you understand? Bidenomics is working, Brooks. You are 3. Stop telling the lady at the desk that you are 5. You're really messing with my budget, kid. But no, thank you for everybody coming out and having a great time with us in Hendersonville. It was absolutely awesome. And, we couldn't do it without you guys. This show is nothing without you. The station is nothing without you. And we're so happy that you are a part of the Super Talk family. So thank you once again. Thank you to our sponsors, Dr. Poss, TMJ Solutions, Oil Fire Whiskey for coming out and letting us sample the whiskey. We couldn't do it without our sponsors either. So thank you to them. Excellent night, all in all. So much fun. And Hendersonville's awesome. I love Hendersonville. It's I've only been out there a couple times, but I love it. I love it. There is some news going on. We do have to get serious. President Trump is being indicted again. I don't know if you're paying attention, but if you're keeping score at home, that's 4 indictments. And Trump's press secretary, Alina Habba, says, Americans are keeping score at home and Americans know exactly what's going on. Mac, you can give me audio, man. Come on.
Sorry.
I know it was a late night. I know we were up late partying at J Street Korean Grill and Bar, but come on, bud. Come on, man.
I'm sounding like Todd now.
Oh. All right. Here's Alina Habba letting everybody know that Americans know exactly what time it is.
I think it's been obvious. I'm hoping that the American people are picking up on what is exactly going on. I think that it's hard not to at this point. I keep thinking to myself, Sean, what am I going to say to the American people outside the courthouse for indictment number 4? I'm his spokeswoman. I'm general counsel for the PAC, and I sit here and have literally litigated tons of cases for this man and watched how different the courts treat him and how his due process rights were frankly violated yesterday. And what we saw was an indictment come out before the grand jury even had a chance to vote. That's un-American, it's improper, and it's obvious, for lack of better words. So I'm hoping the American people get it at this point, Sean. I think you and I, we fight hard, and Kellyanne and everybody that goes on these programs to try and give a little piece of reality of what is occurring. But it's up to you to open your eyes and really see that we have a dual system of justice. It's not a joke. And if we love this country and we don't want to be Cuba, we better get out and vote in 24 and vote for the right person.
Amen. Get out and vote in 24 if you don't want to be Cuba. That's the big takeaway. We spoke with a lot of people last night who feel disenfranchised about the process. And, I still think that there's only real one way out at this juncture. Vote your way out of it. Vote in such overwhelming numbers that they can't do anything to say we lost. And I think that we're going to come out and vote in massive numbers, despite all the indictments against Donald Trump. One thing I am looking forward to, and this is from the Post Millennials reporting this, Donald Trump's court case in Georgia could actually be televised. The new trial of the century.
Oh, wow.
I heard the newscast yesterday where they were talking about, you were talking about cable ratings going down.
Oh, yeah.
Court TV would make a thunderous comeback
yes.
if they were airing the Donald Trump trial in Georgia. Under Georgia law, video cameras are permitted in courtrooms so long as they don't impact proceedings or put those involved in harm way. So there's a distinct possibility that Americans will witness Trump's trial live on TV. That would be amazing. Sign me up. I would absolutely be all in on that. I mean, if the criminal trial goes forward, broadcasting it on national TV, appointment viewing. Think about the ad rates on that. There would make so much money.
The left should not want that.
The left obviously doesn't want that.
No.
And it says, the one caveat, as they say, so long as they don't impact proceedings. So, the Mockingbird media may look at this and go, well, this is definitely going to impact proceedings because, more important than court is the court of public opinion. And if we get to see firsthand the two-tiered justice system live on TV, maybe the independents wake up. Maybe some of the liberals wake up. It's a long shot, but I definitely agree with you, Mac, that it's something that the left doesn't want to see. It can only hurt them, and it can only help us. But in order to get their cameras into the courtroom, the news organizations have to file a Rule 22 request, which would then be granted by the judge, and it is usually granted by the judge in the vast majority of cases. So we'll have to see what happens. It could be awesome. Could be very fun. I would watch it. And as all this is going on, the radical Georgia DA, Fani Willis, however she says it, she talks like a robot. She was built in a lab. Fani Willis is launching her re-election fundraising campaign, and she launched the website just a couple days before Donald Trump was indicted. So, we played audio, I think it was last week, of Trump's spokesperson, Alina Habba, saying this is a publicity stunt for Fani. She's gotten her hair done. She's gotten her new headshots, and she wants her moment in the sun. And it looks like she's not going to let that moment in the sun go to waste because Fulton County's District Attorney, Fani Willis, has launched her re-election fundraising website just days before that grand jury returned the 41-count indictment against former President Trump and his 18 co-defendants. So this is a publicity stunt. This is all in the playbook. This was forecasted. Everybody saw this coming. This is for attention. And now she's going to use these efforts to fundraise. In classic Democrat fashion, she will use this to fundraise. Are you surprised? I'm not surprised. I'm not even angry about it. I'm just disappointed. So, what are we seeing here? The left, again, is not going to want cameras in the courtroom. It's going to hurt Fani Willis's re-election bid. You can't be messing with the fundraising of the left.
Chris, be nice to Fani. I am.
She literally talks like a robot. If you missed the audio from yesterday, Fani Willis, when she announced charges for Donald Trump, she quite literally talks like a William Shatner impersonator.
Yes.
In L.A.
Thank you for joining us. I'm here with the prosecutors and investigators who have worked diligently on the investigation of criminal attempts to interfere in the administration of Georgia's 2020.
Mr. Spock, we must indict Donald Trump. It's so terrible.
Pretty serious sounding for a name with Fani.
Oh my gosh. And I'm fully believing that it is Fani, but she wants to sound more professional, so it's Fani now.
Fani.
Oh, Fani. Old Fani Willis running for re-election on the back of Donald Trump indictments. Classic Democrat move. We got more on the Chris Hand Show. Join the show on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. More on the way, including Vivek Ramaswamy putting the smackdown on Neil Cavuto, one of the biggest shills on Fox News. That'll be happening, after 9:30, after the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Still got that crash in Rutherford County. It's 840 westbound at the Almaville Road exit. That's exit number 47. And a brand new economic indicator out today. We'll tell you about that coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. Me and Mac were just laughing. Wendy texted in, and she said, it cracks me up when Max Murray gets tickled and giggles.
Close, Wendy.
It was very close. It's Mac Murray. But I told Mac, it's not as embarrassing having your name mispronounced as it is of many listeners coming up to me last night in Hendersonville at J Street Korean Grill and Bar and asking, are you Canadian?
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny.
It is the weirdest thing. Maybe it's because I was sad when the mayor of Canada, Justin Trudeau, was getting divorced. Or maybe it's because of the way I say out and about.
Yep,
but like everybody thinks I'm Canadian. So I want to go on record. I am not Canadian. I have never been Canadian. Not that there's anything wrong with that. All right.
We'll get the birth certificates out, folks. Don't worry.
I have it's not a birth certificate from Hawaii either, all right? It's a legit birth certificate. I promise you, it hasn't been doctored in any way, and it is not from a province in Canada. Another super texter texted in. John said, Chris, have you heard Dershowitz say Dems are going for quick convictions to mess up Trump's campaign and appeals will be won after the election, which is too late? John, I have heard that. But if you haven't heard it, here it is for you. Oh, see, I didn't get much sleep last night either. So now I'm...
You're messed up.
I know. It's like I give Mac grief for messing up, and then I'm messing up. That's karma. That's karma.
And I predict there'll be some convictions. I think the strategy is to get bad convictions, but to get them fast in New York, in Florida, in Washington, and in Fulton County. Then they'll be reversed on appeal, but they'll be reversed on appeal after the election. That's why everybody's rushing to get these cases tried. We now know that they want it tried within 6 months in Georgia. They want a trial in January in Washington, D.C. They want a trial in May in Florida. New York has been willing to put it off, but they're going to get on the bandwagon too. Everybody who is going after Trump, the whole get Trump approach is to get him before the election, convict him before the election. Then he wins on appeal. All right, that's tomorrow's news.
So that was Alan Dershowitz saying, yes, the Democrats are going for quick convictions. And you know what? That's fine. Convict him. Like, nothing is going to deter the base from voting for Trump. Convictions are not convictions. He could be sitting in a jail cell, and I'm sure that Trump supporters will still vote for him. Like, without a doubt. Because your boos mean absolutely nothing to us because we have all seen what makes you cheer. So there's nothing that those things can do to sway our mind. That's just my opinion. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news with Ken Weaver.
$9:30 on the dot this Wednesday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Still have that crash in Rutherford County. It's 840 westbound at Almaville. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Brand new money news. Retail sales up for the month of July by a better than expected 0.7% compared with June. Rebecca Jarvis says it could be an indicator that inflation and the economy both getting better.
Economists see these signs as more evidence we may have avoided a much predicted recession, but they also predict that interest rates, that is the cost to borrow money, your credit card bills, will remain elevated at least through the end of the year.
And the death toll from the Hawaii wildfires up to 106 now. Search teams still sifting through the ashes of what's left. The president and first lady set to go there on Monday, according to the White House. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, Paul Winkler here. One of the things that we see from time to time, well, way too often, is this. Let's say that you go to a financial advisor and they say, hey, you need to set up an investment portfolio, and what we need to do is we need to have some of your money in stocks or mutual funds or ETFs or something like that, and we need to have something fixed or guaranteed in your investment portfolio that'll protect you against the market downturns. And quite often what they're talking about, they may not use this word, but often what they're talking about is putting your money into some sort of an annuity. like an indexed annuity or something like that, or a fixed annuity. And what they're doing is they're saying, hey, let's put your money in both of these, which sounds really good. And you should. And typically in an investment portfolio, you do want to have fixed investments and stocks as well in the portfolio to protect against inflation. But here's what happens when you manage a portfolio. Let me use a really, really simple example. Let's say I have a portfolio and I got stocks in there. Then I have my fixed income, my bonds in the portfolio as well. And let's say I have half my money in each. When stocks really do well, what we want to do is they're going to be overweighted in my portfolio. I own too much of them because they've done well compared to bonds. It was supposed to be half and half, and now maybe it's 70% stocks and 30% bonds, let's say, or something like that. So I want to sell some of this and buy some of that to bring it back to 50-50 and back and forth throughout time. Well, the problem is when you're managing a portfolio and rebalancing in that way, bringing it back to the original portfolio mix of half and half in my example, I'm going to have to incur a trading cost or a commission or a back-end surrender with the annuity. It doesn't make any sense to use that product in this particular manner. Why do people do it? Well, the reason quite often is this. Commissions are very high with these products. And a lot of firms, they actually require their advisors to recommend a certain amount of annuities for every person that walks in the door. Now, typically annuities are used for a different purpose. They were actually designed for a totally different purpose. And that was distribution toward the end of life. When somebody looks like they're going to run out of money, they're annuitized. Now, let me tell you something. One study showed there was only like 5% of annuities are ever used in that fashion. Most often they're sold as an accumulation vehicle like this, and they were never really designed for that purpose. If you want to learn more, call us for a free 15-minute phone call or go to our website, paulwinkler.com. The number 615-851-1950 or paulwinkler.com. We don't do anything on commission, and we like to rail against these types of things and help investors do what is in their best interest. paulwinkler.com.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 936. My name is Chris Hand. Mac Maury, my producer. Ken Weaver, the newsman. You are the fourth man in the crew on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. Getting a lot of texts about sounding like I'm from Canada now. Is it the out and the about? It's the out and about, isn't it?
I think it's the out and the about, yeah.
I'm gonna really try to avoid saying those words. It's going to be exit and around from now on. I'm gonna try and eliminate those words from my vocabulary, because it's just embarrassing to be viewed as someone from Canada. Although JB texted in and he said Massachusetts is Canada around here. Fair enough, JB.
Not wrong.
Fair enough. I will say this. I have denounced my Massachusetts citizenship. I don't visit Taxachusetts. It's too cold. The people are too angry, and I prefer it here in cozy Middle Tennessee. So that's that. A super texter sent me in something. We played old Fannie Willis announcing the charges, which a super texter said I have a terrible Captain Kirk impression. That's fine. I'll leave it to Fannie Willis. This was Fannie Willis the other day announcing the indictment for Trump.
I'm here with the prosecutors and investigators who have worked diligently on the investigation of criminal attempts to interfere in the administration of Georgia's 2020 presidential election.
All right, so that was Fannie Willis, okay, the Georgia district attorney. But there's a deep fake going around on Twitter. And the face of Fannie Willis has been replaced by Barack Obama. And the voice of Fannie Willis has been replaced by Barack Obama. And it's absolutely hilarious. So I grabbed that for y'all so that way you can listen and have a chuckle with me as well.
Thank you for joining us. I'm here with the prosecutors and investigators who have worked diligently on the investigation of criminal attempts to interfere in the administration of Georgia's 2020 presidential election. So
funny. These deep fakes are getting out of hand.
That is so crazy.
These deep fakes are really this is like a real worry about the 2024 election.
Oh, yeah.
Because listen, the deep fakes for me, I'm not worried. Yes, that Obama one, funny. We all know it's fake, right? The deep fakes that are going to get scary are going to be the deep fakes where it's just one word changed. Like the very nice people hoax from Charlottesville, where they said Trump called the white supremacists very nice people. It's going to be slight modifications of things that are happening in real time, where people are going to have literally two different realities because they're going to go, no, I saw it this way. And then you're going to go, no, I saw it this way. It's going to be like Mandela effects happening in real time. And it's going to be crazy. And I think that is going to be the scariest part of the deep fakes. At least for me, that's my biggest worry about them. I don't worry about, just a video of Trump saying rude things. I worry about a video where they change one word. That's the terrifying aspect of it, because it's going to be so subtle and so slight that it's already hard to convince a liberal that what's happening in the world, what's happening with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the crimes and the evidence is real. Now, if you can change one word in a deepfake video, it's going to get incrementally harder to show them the truth or lead that horse to water, as they say. That's where I'm at. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. 1326 said, I didn't know, I didn't think you were Canadian, but I knew you were a Yankee. All right, thanks, 1326. All right. 4268, definitely the out and about I noticed recently. Yep. I promise, guys, I'm not Canadian. Jeremy texted in and said, definitely the way you say about, you sound like a total Canuck. All right.
Yeah, keep giving him crap, guys. This is great for me.
Listen, I promise you guys I'm not Canadian. If you see me at a restaurant eating poutine, which is a Canadian delicacy, that's the only Canadian thing I do. I've never been ice fishing.
It's better than Australian.
Way better than Australian.
They could think that.
Way better than Australian. All right, so moving on. Not Canadian, for the record. Let the record state that I'm not Canadian.
America.
America. I love the Constitution, and I love almost all the presidents that we've had. Almost all of them. A lot of them were jerks. A lot of them were lousy. But that's very American. right? Canadians have to say that they love the mayor of Canada. That's in their constitution if they have one. I don't know what they have. As I'm not Canadian, for the record, let the record state. Vivek Ramaswamy, also not Canadian, very American. He was on with Neil Cavuto on Fox News, and Neil Cavuto just such a crybaby. I just really don't like this guy. It's not even shocking anymore when you see a shill like Neil Cavuto still employed by Fox News and Tucker Carlson's been fired. I'm actually more shocked that they didn't rehire Shepard Smith and give Tucker Carlson's time slot to Shepard Smith the way this network is going lately. Neil Cavuto is pushing back on Vivek Ramaswamy for saying that if Vivek won the presidency, he would pardon Donald Trump.
I say, yes, these prosecutions are wrong.
But I can understand that. But there are 91 criminal charges in all, Vivek, as you're aware, over 4 criminal cases. They can't all be politicized, can they? I mean,
they can't all be politicized, can they? Thanks, Neil.
All be politicized, can they? I mean, there's something that the former
Neil Cavuto sounds like he has caviar for lunch. That's the kind of guy Neil Cavuto sounds like. They can't all be politicized, Ken.
Yes, they can't all be politicized.
I'm meeting John Kerry to talk about climate change later.
Yes. They can't all be politicized, can they? I mean, there's something that the former president must have done in any one of these that struck you as wrong, if not.
There must have been something the president has done in any one of these that has struck you as wrong, Vivek. They can't all be politicized.
Must have done in any one of these that struck you as wrong, if not illegal.
Wrong. If not illegal.
I think, Neil, just because the government has brought a case, if we're going to be a culture that now starts to say there must be something wrong, if the government has charged 91 counts, I think that's a people of sheep. And when the people behave like sheep, that breeds a government of wolves.
Beast mode, Vivek. Beast mode. I'm going to play that one more time for you.
If the government has charged 91 counts, I think that's a people of sheep. And when the people behave like sheep, that breeds a government of wolves.
Amen. You get what you vote for. And Vivek doesn't stop. He keeps going at Neil Cavuto. Caviar Cavuto. And he says there's a difference between bad judgment and illegality.
You don't think there's anything in this case that shows or even strongly hints of the former president trying to reverse that Georgia contest?
Neil, I've had this conversation before. There's a difference between a bad judgment and an illegal act.
Yeah. Despite what you may think about Donald Trump, Stacey Abrams has said hundreds of times that she actually won the Georgia election, that it would be proven in time, and then no charges, no criminal charges come. I don't know if it was bad judgment for Donald Trump to say that. I don't know. But, that's where we are.
I don't know.
We don't know. He might be right. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I do know that old Caviar Cavuto, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
He's got his underwear scrunched up dealing with Vivek Ramaswamy.
You don't think there's anything in this case that shows or even strongly hints of the former president trying to reverse that Georgia contest?
You don't think there's anything? I got a memo from Paul Ryan. And Paul Ryan said that as a network, we have to stand against Orange Man. What do you say, Vivek? It's crazy. But Vivek, he just keeps nailing Neil Cavuto. And Neil Cavuto, old Caviar Cavuto, just keeps seething.
But what I will say as a candidate in this race is that I do not think it is good for our country to set this precedent.
Amen.
My focus, Neil, is on reuniting this country, on leading us forward. And that's going to make my job more difficult.
Vivek, let me speak, please. If there is wrongdoing, Vivek.
I understand. But when you have the Republican governor of Georgia who has said this report is irrefutable and that this was an attempt at voter fraud that was scorching. And you have others who've taken similar views, including the Secretary of State, they're a Republican, who said that Donald Trump went too far. Wouldn't you put your trust?
Hold on, hold on. He said Donald Trump went too far. Oh, yes, caviar cavuto.
Who said that Donald Trump went too far?
Why did he say it like that?
Who talks like that? Who does this? Caviar cavuto does.
Who said that Donald Trump went too far? Wouldn't you put your trust, or at least your instincts, in those guys, Republicans, who said that this has been well examined, aggressively examined, and there was nothing to it?
Oh, yes. The Republicans looked at it, Vivek. It's been examined.
Neil, I have one question in my mind. I'm running to be our next president. I ask, what is in the interest of this nation?
Based take, Vivek. Absolutely based. Neil Cavuto, Caviar Cavuto, doesn't know what to say. He gets the memo from Paul Ryan, and then he just keeps, toting the line. The Rhino News Network. Everybody. We have gotten about, what's this? 20 texts, Mac, saying that Neil Cavuto sounds like Thurston Howell III.
That's what I'm looking
from
up
Gilligan's
right now.
Island. Yeah. Yes, darling, yes. Vivek, would you go on a 3-hour tour with me? Yes. Oh my gosh, Neil Cavuto. Old caviar eating Cavuto. But Vivek brings up great points, and this is one of the things I like about Vivek. He is authentically himself, and he says it's the politicization that is destroying America. The politicization of everything is destroying America.
Do I believe that these prosecutors or these elected officials or these federal prosecutors are advancing the interests of this nation when they're bringing this unprecedented indictment, not one time, but now 4 times over? No, I think our country is worse off because of this politicization. Would I have made different decisions than Donald Trump did? Absolutely, I would have. I will remind you that I'm running for U.S. president in the same race that he is. Sure. But I think it is so important.
Did you hear Neil Cavuto? He said, I would remind you, I'm running for president in the same race Donald Trump is. And he goes, sure.
Yes.
Sure.
But
it's so subtle. It's so like, sure.
Same race that he is. Sure. But I think it is so important. This conversation that you and I are having are evidence enough of why this is a bad idea, because we're not talking about how we improve an economy.
Amen.
We're not talking about how we ought to revive our national identity.
This is a big deal.
And
I
that's what this
understand what
election
you're
really
saying,
should be
but
about.
this is a big deal. We can't sort of...
Vivek, please.
I'm interrupting you again, Vivek.
Vivek, not the economy again, Vivek. Secretary Janet Yellen says it's doing fine, Vivek. Caviar prices are stable, Vivek.
We're not talking about how we ought to revive our national identity.
This is a big deal. And
And
I
that's what this
understand what
election
you're
really should
saying,
be about.
but this is a big deal. We can't sort of minimize it or slough it
Of
aside
course it's a
because
big
it
deal,
looks
and
like
that's
a
exactly
cabal.
why I'm...
So let me ask you, when you talk about wanting to pardon Donald Trump for this, why? What would be good about that if you became president of the United States to pardon him?
Why, Vivek? Just answer me. Why? What benefit would this have, Vivek, if we pardon Donald Trump?
Why? What would be good about that if you became president of the United States to pardon him?
I think the right answer for this country is to move forward.
Amen. Thank you, Vivek Ramaswamy. One of the most based politicians that we have. Listen, the more I hear from him, the more I like him. When he spoke out against the 9/11 Commission, based. Me and Mac have talked about it off the air. That's a view so many millennials and younger generation hold.
Yep.
That something doesn't smell right with that. The fact that he is, pushing against the narrative, saying what he actually believes, I love it. And Caviar Cavuto.
Yes.
Vivek, please. Please don't focus on the economy, Vivek. He just loves getting those memos from Paul Ryan and doing what he's told. Yes.
Sure.
Yes, 3-hour tour, yes. It is 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We've got crashes and rolling roadblocks in the way. Right now, the crashes, one right by the airport, 40 westbound at Briley Parkway, right lane blocked. Then near Belmont, right shoulder block, 65 northbound, right before Wedgwood Avenue. And the rolling roadblock has the left 2 lanes blocked to 40 eastbound at 28th Avenue. The Hawaii death toll continues to climb, and a key vote on the future of license plate reader cameras in Nashville. These stories and more at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. Everybody's letting us know that Neil Cavuto, old Caviar Cavuto, pushing back on Vivek Ramaswamy sounds like Thurston Howell III.
Over 4 criminal cases. They can't all be politicized, can they? I mean, there's something that the former president must have done in any one of these that struck you as wrong, if not illegal.
Lover.
Yes, lover. It's so funny. And the super texters on 615-737-9986. I mean, they're coming in fast and furious right now. What did 4087?
Oh, yeah, 4087. Cavuto seems to have forgotten the presumption of innocence before being proven guilty.
Oh, that's only for the high class, lover. that's not for the low class.
That's the other side of the island.
Oh, yeah.
We could probably just do a whole break.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Barely anywhere.
Patrick, 0745, said Neil's opinion that there might be, could be, possibly, somewhere, maybe be something in these 91 indictments is a perfect example of liberal logic. Yes, Patrick, yes. Oh, my gosh.
It's too much fun, man.
All right, past the caviar. News is up. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And again, got 2 crashes in the way. One is 40 westbound at Briley Parkway near the airport. The other one is Belmont area, 65 northbound, right before Wedgwood. You got the right shoulder blocked. Rolling roadblock has the left 2 lanes blocked, 40 eastbound at 28th Avenue. Full forecast in 2 minutes. The president and first lady, according to the White House, going to travel to Hawaii on Monday as the grim search for victims of the devastating wildfires continues.
The number of dead here is today at 106 victims found. There are still hundreds who are missing. Governor Josh Green telling ABC News only about a third of the buildings in Lahaina have been searched yet by cadaver dogs.
The numbers will increase, but they will not increase, we hope, to further catastrophic proportions. We just don't know yet.
FEMA has 20 cadaver dogs here right now. They're requesting 20 more. A mobile morgue unit has arrived with 22 tons of gear to help identify victims.
Alex Stone reporting. Right now in Nashville, license plate reader cameras to fight crime will be permanent if it passes 2 more votes in the next Metro Council term. The resolution advanced last night after arguments for it and against it, including residents and at least one council member who think it'll be used to unfairly target certain communities.
This over-policing leads to the detention and deportation of Black and brown people.
There have been vendors that other cities have used that have shared information with ICE and with other agencies.
And Channel 4's Ryan Breslin has the arguments in favor of the LPRs.
We heard from a Metro police sergeant last night. He says the LPRs would have been able to help police arrest 2 15-year-olds from Kentucky who stole a car days before they were later arrested for murdering gas station clerk Vishal Patel in Hermitage.
News 2 says the councilman Freddie O'Connell, who's in the runoff to be mayor, voted against the bill. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Okay, here we go. 10:04, Super Talk 99. I'm not sure if you know or if you've been paying attention. But yeah, that's 4. 4 indictments. It's a clown show. We live in a clown world.
What a ridiculous clown show.
It is. It is a clown show. Thank you, Nancy. If Neil Cavuto is Thurston Howell III, Nancy Pelosi would be his wife.
Yes,
right?
That's it.
Like if we were doing like a live Broadway version of it, like, and it could only be like political actors, that's how I would cast it. What a ridiculous clown show. All right. Donald Trump yesterday actually released a statement on Truth Social. I'm on Truth Social now too because everybody recommended that I join. I'm not a big social media person, but I'm there. I'll hit follow if you follow. So at Chris Hand on air. But Trump released this statement on Joe Biden, and he calls Biden the most corrupt candidate, a Manchurian candidate.
The Biden crime family received more than $20 million from foreign countries while Crooked Joe was vice president, and probably a lot more than that. That's just the money they found. Not one of Joe Biden's defenders has even attempted to explain what Joe and his family did, including his children and his grandchildren. What were they doing getting all of this money? I believe we have a compromised president. He was bribed, and now he's being blackmailed. He's a Manchurian candidate. That's why Crooked Joe is letting other countries walk all over the United States. He's afraid to bring it up. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's petrified of China because they know exactly how much money has been given to him, and they know exactly where it is.
Yeah, they know. I will point out that not all of his grandkids have made money. The 7th grandkid probably hasn't made much. The 7th grandkid is just now being acknowledged. But it's hard to argue with President Trump. He's right. It definitely feels like Biden is a Manchurian candidate. The man campaigned from his basement. Record voting numbers. He did better than old Barry Obama, and some of the highest density African American cities in the country. Record numbers. Absolutely amazing. What a feat. What a feat. But Trump goes on and, he says Biden's not going to be able to stand up to China, and China's a real threat.
China has paid him a fortune. Just think of what China has gotten for all that money. Biden shut down my administration's initiative targeting Chinese spies in the United States. He shut it down cold. He let China off the hook for COVID. He shut down the investigation into the origins of the China virus. He did nothing as China began setting up bases in Cuba, taking over South America, and threatening Taiwan.
And I'll go a step further. We had Chinese police departments in our country. We have Chinese illegal aliens crossing the southern border, war-fighting aged men. Not just, not women and children, war-aged men. And they're coming in. They're doing it in Canada, too. I'm not Canadian, I assure you. As the super texters continually ask. I just happen to know that because I read a lot of news. I didn't hear it from the mayor of Canada, Justin Trudeau. But they're buying up land everywhere in Canada and America. We don't even have to get into the balloon incident, Balloon Gate. But it certainly seems like he's not standing up to China. It certainly seems like that's our biggest adversary. And but he's not doing anything about it. He does. So Trump has this statement, and I love it. But he brings up another line that he's already brought up before, which I just think is hilarious because it just feels like it comes out of nowhere. And it's about the Panama Canal.
They even took over the Panama Canal. We spent a fortune building it. Jimmy Carter's administration sold it for $1. We lost 36,000 people building the Panama Canal. The mosquitoes got them, malaria. The mosquitoes got them. And now China controls it.
I don't know why I think that's so funny, but every time I hear the president say, the mosquitoes got them.
The mosquitoes got them.
I just think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious for a couple of reasons. He targets three people in this statement. He targets Joe Biden, obvious. Yeah, makes sense. Jimmy Carter, which is like, I also get it because, Jimmy Carter was a terrible Democrat president. You want that association with Biden. You want that stink on him. But the mosquito.
Malaria. The mosquitoes got him.
It's just the mosquito. I don't know why we're bringing up the mosquito. Then my inner conspiracy theorist is like, well, maybe he's alluding to Bill Gates and the genetically modified mosquitoes. But no, come on. It's just so silly.
The mosquitoes got them.
The mosquitoes got him. Those skeeters. So silly. But he brings up a bunch of good points in this statement. And he doesn't stop at the mosquito, that cost 36,000 lives on the Panama Canal. He doesn't make any promises to eradicate the mosquito either, which I'm waiting for. My backyard is overrun with them, much like the country is overrun due to the porous southern border. But he says, the China threat is real, and we're actually seeing Russia and Chinese military cooperation.
Russia and China are even doing military exercises near the Aleutian Islands, right off the coast of Alaska. And Biden sits back on his hands. He does nothing. This never would have happened if I was president. If they even thought about it, I would have shut it down instantly. There's no way they would have done any of this kind of thing, including Russia invading Ukraine would have never happened. And China wouldn't even be thinking about Taiwan right now. Crooked Joe's corruption is a glaring threat to national security.
It's so hard to argue with the former president here. I don't think that Ukraine-Russia would have happened if Trump was in office. It's like the Reagan quote, we're a lot more, it's a lot riskier when you're viewed as weak, right?
Between the millions and millions of dollars.
People will want to take advantage of your country when you're weak. And all Biden displays on the national stage is weakness and ineptitude. And it seems like, these other countries, our adversaries, smell blood in the water. They wouldn't have gone after Ukraine while Trump was in office. I mean, there was that famous quote and story. I don't know if it was a quote. It was the story going around that Trump said, if you take Ukraine, I'll bomb Moscow. That's what will happen. And a lot of people thought Trump was a wild man. He was a loose cannon. And while the threats may have just been empty threats, there was that 5% chance that he was serious. And that was just enough to not pull the trigger on invading Ukraine. It was just enough for China to not pull the trigger on going into Taiwan. And China absolutely would have never accidentally lost a weather balloon over the United States. I say that with air quotes, weather balloon. But none of that would have happened because Trump was just enough of a loose cannon. And we're seeing, now what appears to be a compromised president who isn't going to stand up, isn't going to do the right thing, and his weakness is making us less safe over and over. And Trump makes a great point. It seems like it's leading us down the path to World War III.
Between the millions and millions of dollars he's gotten from China and the millions of dollars from Ukraine, Joe Biden's greed and criminality is going to get us into World War III. We're going to be in World War III with this guy. Grossly incompetent man.
Grossly incompetent. It does feel like we're inching closer to World War III. I don't like it. I think that this is a terrible move. I think that we need to stop funding Ukraine. We need to get out of that conflict as quickly as possible because that's the only path. It's either peace or World War III. I don't feel like there's going to be much middle ground for much longer because we're running out of artillery to send them. We're bleeding our bank accounts dry funding Ukraine doing this, and Russia's just waiting. It's just waiting us out. It feels like, and it doesn't feel like a just war to be involved with. That's me. War is hell, and I agree. There's no winners in war, but when Democrats and Republicans are trying to fund this thing, I just say we run. Let's get away from it as fast as we can. There's no reason to be involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict, especially not when we have homeless veterans here in America. We have kids going hungry here in America. We have a border that is just pouring illegal aliens into our country every single day. Maui, Lahaina, these people have lost everything. They send them a $700 check per household. That's what the Biden administration does. Billions for Ukraine. Billions. We need to take care of our citizens first. I think America first is the only way forward. And, you know, it just doesn't seem like it's America first with Joe Biden. It hasn't. It hasn't since his botched Afghanistan withdrawal. It just hasn't. You know, they always used to say the adults are back. Well, you know, the adults feel like they're just drug addicts and alcoholics. They may be adults, but they feel like drug addicts and alcoholics. And that's who we have running our country. Corrupt drug addicts and alcoholics. That's my opinion. That's what it feels like, at least. It doesn't feel like these are serious people who have their head on straight or even have anything in between their ears. But that's where we're at. And then Trump goes on and brings up, the weaponization of Biden's DOJ and the appointment of the special counsel.
Now the corrupt Biden DOJ is continuing the cover-up with the appointment of a special counsel to block further investigation. It's the very same U.S. attorney who cut Hunter Biden the scandalous plea deal that was such a scam it didn't survive the barest scrutiny in court.
Yeah, it was a scam. And everybody knows it was a scam. And now David Weiss is a special counsel. Awesome. More tax dollars wasted. Nothing's going to come of it. And it's just going to take time and let the Biden administration deflect from all the questions people have. And they always say, David Weiss was a Trump appointee. He's a Trump guy. Well, President Trump sets the record straight.
It was done under what's called blue slip. It wasn't picked in that position by President Trump. It was picked by the Democrat senators in the state. It's called a blue slip. You'll check it out. But they picked him. I didn't pick him.
He didn't pick him. He's on record. They picked him. I didn't pick him. They picked him.
But they picked him. I didn't pick him.
Let the record state.
But they picked him. I didn't pick him.
Not a Trump appointee. And this corruption is reaching new heights. We are seeing corruption at levels we have never seen before in the U.S. government. And Donald Trump highlights all of it. And he's so right.
This is corruption like our country has never seen before. That is why as soon as I am reelected, I will appoint a real special counsel, or maybe you'll call it a special prosecutor, whatever you want to call it, you can, to look at all of these bribes, kickbacks, and other crimes, as well as the shameless attempt at a cover-up. Justice will be done. The Biden crime family will be looked at. We have to get there first. We have to win the election. They're trying to step in my way at every path because the one person they don't want to run is Donald Trump. But when we get there, the Biden crime family will pay a price like other people are being forced to pay. And that price will be very, very substantial. It'll be fair. But you know what? If they're guilty, they're going to be guilty.
You know, I like a lot of what he says there. One of the things I don't like is appointing another special counsel, special prosecutor. I'm on record. I think these special counsels, special prosecutors are just awful. Wastes of tax dollars. Why do we need to appoint another special counsel, special prosecutor to investigate their crimes? Hasn't the House Oversight Committee been doing this? Don't we have a lot of the evidence? If we don't have enough evidence to charge them now, what is a special prosecutor going to do or a special counsel going to do to change that? I feel like that is a waste. I hate the special counsel, special prosecutor stuff. I really do. I don't think that any of it is going to change anything. I feel like we have more than enough to take action now, but it seems like no action is being taken. Republicans are weak. And you know, what can you say? Another special counsel, another special prosecutor. Who's to say they're going to pick the right guy? Who's to say they aren't going to pick another swamp creature? Who's to say it's not just going to be another waste of our tax dollars? I bet you we could find plenty of other places to spend that money in much more efficient ways. But that's me. I don't know. I'm just a humble radio DJ. That's it.
He's from America.
Who's from America? The super text line's open, 615-737-9986. 9058 said, like Mueller, he didn't know a damn thing about his deal. 4049 says, corruption knows other corruption well. Trump is the biggest con of our generation. Oh, all right. Good to know. Good to know. Thanks, 4049. You know, we can always go back and read the old super texts. 4049 is also on record saying, kudos to Mike Pence. So, I'll leave that there. Thank you, 4049, for listening to the show. And I don't want to cloud on you too much. I'm not afraid of difference of opinion, and I'm not afraid of the conversation. I love the conversation. I want to have the conversation. Trump, the biggest con of our generation? I don't know. Up for debate. The economy was doing pretty good. Unemployment was pretty low. Was your life better under Trump than it is now? Mine was. We were making money. Lots of it. But now, not so much. 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Still got that crash in Belmont. It is blocking the right shoulder, 65 northbound, right before Wedgwood. And there's been a new development in a mass murder considered to be the worst in 20 years in Tennessee. This story and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 10:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A second ago, 4049 said Trump is the biggest con of our generation. I don't want to bemoan 4049, but it didn't stop the super texters. Didn't stop the super texters. 1385 texted in and said, "Hey, 4049, Pelosi for president." 2862 said 4049 is completely wrong. Biden is the biggest con ever. Yep.
Bingo.
Stephanie said 4049 must be watching too much CNN.
This is true. This is true. Part of the 3 people that watch CNN.
But keep texting 4049.
Yeah, I don't want to make fun of you too much. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun.
Of course.
I appreciate all my listeners, especially the ones that disagree with me, because that's how we learn. I don't want to be in an echo chamber of everybody thinking what I'm saying is right all the time. Please push back. And I don't want you to think that you can't disagree with me. Like this guy, Brian. Brian texted and he said, "Chris, I really like your show. I agree with your views. However, why do you support such woke organizations as Boston sports teams, UT, and as you said earlier, your wife's beloved UVA? Seems kind of weird, hypocritical, with other views you express, in my opinion." Preach on, I guess. Yeah, listen, man, I get it. And I'll say this, Brian, when all of this stuff happened with the NBA and Black Lives Matter and that being on the court, I swore off sports. I swore off sports for 2.5 years. And you can ask my wife. I was the biggest Tom Brady fan. I was the biggest Boston Celtics fan. I was the biggest Red Sox fan. And I love sports. I do. When the woke stuff started happening, I was out. I had had enough. And as time has gone on, growing up as a kid, it was such a great memory going to these games, having fun. And I don't want to steal that from my kids is one of the reasons why I'm going to go to the UT UVA game. The experience going to a football game with your family is different. It's different.
And there's nothing woke about going to a good game.
And it's special. So I get where you're at, and I've been there. The organizations are woke. The NBA is woke. A lot of the players are woke. I mean, we could list off the things that LeBron James has been saying, when it comes to China, when it comes to anything. I mean, pick something. They're absolutely woke. I do want to get to a point where we take back these organizations. We don't let them steal our joy. I got out of radio for a while, and one of the reasons that I wanted to come back was because the things I loved about radio, I love a lot more than the things I dislike about radio. And same can be said about sports. I left sports for a while when it got too woke, when they were kneeling for the anthem, when the Black Lives Matter stuff was happening during the NBA. And I realized I like a lot of the things I like more than the things I hate. And I can disagree with them and be against that and still want to go have a day at the football stadium with my kids and want to have those family memories the same way I had with my dad growing up and not let the left and the woke agenda steal that from me and my family. Does that make sense?
Of course. You're almost letting them win if you let them do that.
Yeah, it's like the mayor of Canada once said, if you kill them, your enemies win. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like, listen, I just don't want to let them win. I don't want to let the left steal our joy. And I feel like we cede ground to them on so many different angles. I don't watch a lot of mainstream TV. I don't watch a lot of mainstream movies. You've heard my takes on Barbie. But I can't let them rob me of that joy of taking my kids to the football game. I just can't, and I won't. So yeah, I do support Boston teams. I support the camaraderie that you get with friends watching a game, and that's the stuff I support. I don't support the woke ideology. But Brian and everybody else, I love it when I get a little pushback. I love it when you call me out on things I say, and that's why we're here. That's why the super text line is here. That's why the conversation is happening. And I like the things I like more than I hate the things I hate. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. 65 northbound right before Wedgwood Avenue. The right shoulder is blocked by a crash. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, a Sumner County man accused of killing 8 people in 2019, including members of his own family and a 12-year-old girl, will avoid the death penalty. The Tennessean says 30-year-old Michael Cummins pleaded guilty today in a deal with prosecutors, which puts him behind bars for the rest of his life without the chance for parole. The death toll from the devastating Hawaii wildfires up to 106 and expected to climb. Hundreds of people still missing. President Biden and the First Lady travel there on Monday. And in Money News, Halloween stuff showing up in stores earlier and earlier. Experts telling USA Today it's an attempt to extend holiday shopping seasons, and demand is there. Home Depot rolled out Halloween decorations last month and quickly sold out. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, Paul Winkler here. One of the things that we see from time to time, well, way too often, is this. Let's say that you go to a financial advisor and they say, hey, you need to set up an investment portfolio, and what we need to do is we need to have some of your money in stocks or mutual funds or ETFs or something like that, and we need to have something fixed or guaranteed in your investment portfolio that'll protect you against the market downturns. And quite often what they're talking about, they may not use this word, but often what they're talking about is putting your money into some sort of an annuity, like an indexed annuity or something like that, or a fixed annuity. And what they're doing is they're saying, hey, let's put your money in both of these, which sounds really good. And you should. And typically in an investment portfolio, you do want to have fixed investments and stocks as well in the portfolio to protect against inflation. But here's what happens when you manage a portfolio. Let me use a really, really simple example. Let's say I have a portfolio and I got stocks in there. Then I have my fixed income, my bonds in the portfolio as well. And let's say I have half my money in each. When stocks really do well, what we want to do is they're going to be overweighted in my portfolio. I own too much of them because they've done well compared to bonds. It was supposed to be half and half, and now maybe it's 70% stocks and 30% bonds, let's say, or something like that. So I want to sell some of this and buy some of that to bring it back to 50-50 and back and forth throughout time. Well, the problem is when you're managing a portfolio and rebalancing in that way, bringing it back to the original portfolio mix of half and half in my example, I'm going to have to incur a trading cost or a commission or a back-end surrender with the annuity. It doesn't make any sense to use that product in this particular manner. Why do people do it? Well, the reason quite often is this. Commissions are very high with these products. And a lot of firms, they actually require their advisors to recommend a certain amount of annuities for every person that walks in the door. Now, typically annuities are used for a different purpose. They were actually designed for a totally different purpose. And that was distribution toward the end of life. When somebody looks like they're going to run out of money, they're annuitized. Now, let me tell you something. One study showed there was only like 5% of annuities are ever used in that fashion. Most often they're sold as an accumulation vehicle like this, and they were never really designed for that purpose. If you want to learn more, call us for a free 15-minute phone call, or go to our website, paulwinkler.com. The number, 615-851-1950 or paulwinkler.com. We don't do anything on commission, and we like to rail against these types of things and help investors do what is in their best interest. paulwinkler.com.
Hey, it's Chris Ham for Paul Winkler, Inc. I am a husband and a father to 4, and, thinking about the future is very important. It's important for all of us. My kids might want to go to college. My kids are hopefully going to be getting married, and I'll have weddings to pay for, at least for my girls. And so having those things in the future, I need to have a financial plan. And I'm so lucky that I linked up with Paul Winkler and his team. Now, because Paul and his team hold themselves to a higher standard, the government requires to tell you that I'm paid every time this commercial airs. But I'm not telling you this about Paul because I'm paid to say it. I'm telling you because I got to sit down with Paul. He answered my questions honestly. I feel like I'm a good judge of character. And after speaking with Paul, I feel like he's an honest guy and he's a smart guy and he knows the financial world better than I do. And that's why I decided to be with a client with Paul Winkler Inc. And with Paul and his team, nothing is done on commission. They're big on education. So he's made my financial goals far more realistic by explaining what to do and why. And the investment education they provide is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. So you should check these guys out if you don't have a plan. Every office is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years of experience, and you can feel the difference between Paul's team and the rest because their experience equals confidence. So do what I did. Talk to one of his team members. You can set up a 15-minute phone call for free right now on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com, or pick up the phone, 615-851-1950. (10:36) on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I just addressed, why I'm going to take my kids to a football game, and how that could be supporting woke ideology. I get it. I get your complaints. I get where you're at, and I get not wanting to, support these organizations with my money, and how by buying tickets, it does support those organizations. But, I still want those memories with my kids. I still want to take them to the football game. I do. John sent in a text, 0973, John in Lawrenceburg, and he had a good point. He said, Chris, it's kind of like people asking, why would you bring kids into the world today? If we don't, then only bad people or leftists will. Then how will the world be? Good, right-thinking people must stay involved so the goofballs don't take over everything. Thank you, John. And that's kind of where I'm at. If we just concede these spaces to the woke ideology, then they're just spaces for woke ideology. And it seems like a lot of times we just back out and we leave those arenas, and then the left takes over. We've seen it time and time again. 6722 said you need to go to a Predators game. I've been to a few.
Super fun.
Yeah, super dope.
Super dope.
All right. Joe Biden was in Milwaukee. And he was telling people he's doing great. He is the best president we've ever had. It didn't actually start off good, and it's so funny. I'm a big fan of foreshadowing, and the way they introduced Joe Biden was just foreshadowing for how his speech in Milwaukee was about to go. So Democrat Rep Gwen Moore went to introduce Biden, and it went like this.
President Joe Biden, y'all.
Yeah, everybody's getting hype. Everybody's excited. Everybody's looking around.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm a little underwhelmed, aren't you all?
Yep. Mac is taking the drink. Don't spit it out. Joe Biden didn't show up. He wasn't there. Usually he gets lost on his way out after the speech, but he got lost on his way to the speech this time. And this is going to need to be a hotkey, Mac.
Well, I'm a little underwhelmed, aren't you all?
Oh yeah, that's it.
So that's Democrat Rep Gwen Moore introducing Biden. He doesn't show up, and well,
I'm a little underwhelmed, aren't you all? I think I messed up.
Yep.
Y'all, please vote for me, okay?
You got it, Gwen. You got it. We're gonna vote for Gwen. I mean, and it was an absolute train wreck after that. As you can imagine, Biden introduced Democrat Senator Tammy Baldwin, and he does it in the most awkward Biden way ever.
Tammy Baldwin, you're the best, kid. You're the absolute best. If I had another 10 of you, we could rule the world.
All right. Thanks, Joe. That's what it's about with the Democrats, ruling the world. But Tammy, you're the best.
Tammy Baldwin, you're the best, kid.
You're the best, kid. Like that's his I'm an everyday man like you. We often make fun of politicians like Pence or, Fannie Willis. I'm here to support this candidate. So Joe's, he's dealt, Scranton Joe, old middle class Joe.
Tammy Baldwin, you're the best, kid.
Yep. What a down to earth guy. I mean, but then he goes on, and he can't even pronounce the last name of his own FEMA director, Deanne Criswell. He calls her Griswold.
FEMA Administrator Griswold, who's the best we ever had, I think.
Clark?
FEMA Administrator Griswold, who's the best we ever had, I think.
Yep.
You serious, Clark?
Yep. Bleepers full. My goodness. This is our commander in chief. He's been under the hot seat about Hawaii, not going to visit Lahaina, Maui, all that, and he addressed it.
My wife Jill and I are going to travel to Hawaii as soon as we can. That's what I've been talking to the governor about. I don't want to get in the way. I've been to too many disaster areas, but I want to go make sure we got everything they need.
I've been to too many disaster areas. He never visited East Palestine, Ohio. Unless he's talking about, cleaning up after Hunter. I don't know what disaster areas he's been to.
I've been to too many disaster areas.
Okay, thank you. He doesn't want to get in the way, you guys.
The governor about it. I don't want to get in the way.
So he's not going to Hawaii. He's just not. I would be hard pressed. I would bet a lot of money that Joe Biden never goes to Hawaii. But, he's there. He's there to remind people Bidenomics is working. It is.
The Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal.
This is the line he keeps saying. He's like going to the Kamala Harris School of Speechwriting, where like they find a line they like. They don't know that the internet exists, so they just repeat it everywhere. Like maybe when he started in politics, this was a good strategy. You find the line you like, you say it in every different city, and it works and it plays to the crowd. But with the internet, what are you doing? It's like the Democrat Party doesn't understand that the internet exists, and we've heard this same old line over and over.
The Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, started calling my plan not initially as a compliment to Bidenomics. But guess what, folks? They're talking about it differently now. It's working.
It's working. Okay. I mean, prices are only up by, almost 17%. Real wages down by 3%. That means it's working.
Don't do the whisper. Oh.
It's the creepiest part of Joe Biden. That or the sniffing of hair. I don't know. The whisper's pretty bad.
Whisper's bad.
I will veto them.
Yeah, I'm the guy that wrote the bill. He says, and in case you haven't noticed, inflation's down too.
In case you haven't noticed, inflation's down too, and it's going lower.
Oh, it's going lower. I know Brian said something on his show yesterday as I was driving down to Hendersonville for our Super Talk Live event at J Street Korean Grill and Bar. He says, gas prices are up. And if there's anything that makes inflation go up faster, it's gas prices. It ripples through an economy faster than anything. So for Joe Biden to just brag about inflation being down, I don't know where he's getting his numbers. Is he like zooming in so much that he's looking at hour by hour at this point? Because if you look at year over year, it's not.
In case you haven't noticed, inflation's down too, and it's going lower.
All right, it's going lower. Thanks, Joe. What? Bidenomics, baby. It's working.
We pay for low-wage workers has grown at the fastest rate in 2 decades. Wages are growing faster than inflation. Folks, that's Bidenomics.
That's just not true. Wages are growing faster than inflation. No. Nope. Real wages are down by 3%. We're all feeling it in our wallets and pocketbooks. We're spending more everywhere. Wages are not growing faster than inflation. They're just not. And with gas prices up, prices of our everyday goods are about to go up too. Awesome. And then at one point during this speech, he starts talking about Ron Johnson, right? And he pulls out a tissue in the middle of it, and he wipes his leaky nose while he's talking, and then keeps going.
See how Ron Johnson's rationale on mega
Wiping my
nose
nose.
worked out.
It's disgusting. Like, just say excuse me. Just
yeah. Do what humans do. Say, hey, sorry, give me 1 second. Excuse me.
He pulls out a used, wrinkled up tissue from his pocket, wipes his nose, puts it back in his pocket. He didn't even do the courtesy fold over.
Oh yeah,
it was like mucus out inside the pocket.
Boom, right back in. Lint and mucus. What a combo.
Ugh. It's just gross. I thought they were like all gung ho on health and safety in the Biden administration. I mean, didn't they mandate the vaccine for everybody's safety? And Biden can't even stop a speech to wipe his leaky nose, and they don't have a garbage can for him. He's got to put the mucus tissue back in his pocket after getting his hands all over it. Then he goes, probably hits the crowd right after and shakes hands with the mucus hand. Classic. Yep. Pulls out a giant wad of tissues. And blows his nose during the speech. But I don't know if there's anything that's going to top this.
But then, when I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again, which
Did you catch that?
What did he sign?
I think it's the bipartisan infoshark long bill. They're banning long sharks that's how I'm taking it. Sharks at the beach are dangerous. People don't like sharks at the beach.
But then, when I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again, which
we're not a serious country anymore. We're not a serious country. This is the man. And this is if it was one time, you let it slide. This happens every time this old man speaks.
But then, when I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again, which
all right. Thanks, Joe. Thanks. All right. He signed it.
When I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again, which
he knows when he's getting to a word that he doesn't really know how to say.
Oh my gosh. You could see the sweat coming down his brow.
And just hopes no one notices, I guess.
Again, they don't understand the internet exists. Just say, I'm sorry, I flubbed that one.
Yeah, that was bad. Sorry.
I flubbed that. Unbelievable. But then, he's just touting all of his successes. That's been the big strategy for the Biden regime. Remind people of your successes. And so he reminded people of other people's successes, I guess.
By the way, we, the United States, invented those semiconductors. We invented them when we went to the moon.
Oh.
The moon.
We went to the moon.
When we went to the moon.
I don't know. I thought about going down the whole we never went to the moon route, but I'm going to save that for another day.
That's self-restraint.
I'm not a fan of the moon theory.
When we went to the moon.
I don't know if we did. I don't know. Seems a little weird. It seems a little weird. I'm just saying, there's still no cell phone service in parts of the country, but Nixon could make a phone call to the moon.
It's weird.
They had who was the cameraman? Who took the pictures? I don't know. Might be a bridge too far for me. I don't want to get a call from Dan. Be like, hey, let's just stick to the news. So I'm going to stick to the news. I'm not going to go full bore on moon conspiracy theories. But it would make sense to fake it. It would. We're in the height of the Cold War. Got to get a win on the board. Got to get some points on the board. So have Nixon do a phone call to the moon.
I just love how confidently Biden said it. Just you can see when he regains his thought mid-sentence. We go to the moon.
When we went to the moon.
Yeah.
Have we been back since? No, we lost that technology, didn't we?
It's gone.
So weird. I'm waiting for a text message from Dan. Oh man. But that's our president. You know. I got more. I got more from Joe Biden. This one, I'll give you a teaser of what's coming up.
By the way, Pittsburgh is a city of bridges. More bridges in Pittsburgh than any other city in America.
That's true.
I watched that bridge collapse.
What?
I got there and saw it collapse with over 200 feet off the ground going over a valley.
Jeez.
It collapsed. Thank God school was out.
Thank God school is out. We have more from the Biden speech on the way. It is 10:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Be a part of the show. Super text line open 615-737-9986. Hey, it's Chris Hand for Jeff Eddy's Efficient Heating and Cooling. Listen, if your AC is on the fritz, call my man Jeff Eddy. It can be so hard to find somebody that you trust for these home repairs that cost a bunch of money, and that includes heating and cooling. But with Efficient Heating and Cooling, I want to let you know they're a small company with big service, and they provide results. I trust Jeff Eddy and his crew to do what's right, and you can too because they've proved it time and time again. Now, the other guys, they make more money by having you replace your unit. Makes sense, right? But Jeff Eddy and his crew, they just want you to make the right decision. So they're going to walk you through every option and scenario so that way you can make an informed decision. You know, not like the other guys who just pressure you to replace the unit because they make more money that way. And with Efficient Heating and Cooling, they offer up to 18 months, same as cash financing on your next unit. So if your AC is on the fritz, if the heat's been out and we're edging closer and closer towards wintertime, get it fixed now. Call Jeff Eddy, Efficient Heating and Cooling, 18 months, same as cash financing on your next unit. They're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric and an elite pro partner with Rheem. Go to efficienthvac.net for more or call 615-784-4424.
The book is closing on a mass murder case here in Middle Tennessee. And doctors are excited about a kidney transplant experiment they say offers hope for Americans on the waiting list. These stories and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. A lot of people are getting on me about my moon comments. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But a lot of people think we should send Joe Biden to the moon. A one-man mission. No return date. No return to sender. I don't disagree with it. Straight to the moon. Do not pass go.
When we went to the moon.
Listen, Joe Biden is such a joke. This is him trying to insult Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Texas, the state of Texas, a very enlightened governor. The very state of Texas has the significant highest number of wind and solar facilities, I think, of any state in the nation. And it's cheaper than fossil fuel. He wants to shut them down. Isn't that enlightened?
Oh, thanks. That's his best attempt at an insult for Governor Greg Abbott. Love it. Love it. We got more from Joe Biden. We're going to dig into this one a little bit more when we get back.
By the way, Pittsburgh is a city of bridges. More bridges in Pittsburgh than any other city in America.
That's true.
I watched that bridge collapse.
Oh.
I got there and saw it collapse with over 200 feet off the ground going over a valley. It collapsed. Thank God school was out.
Thank God school was out. Thank God. We'll dig into that. But right now, it is 10:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and it's time, my friends, for the news with Ken Weaver.
Eleven o'clock on the dot this Wednesday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in Tennessee, a Sumner County man accused of killing 8 people in 2019, including members of his own family and a 12-year-old girl, will avoid the death penalty. The Tennessean says 30-year-old Michael Cummins pleaded guilty today in a deal with prosecutors, which puts him behind bars for the rest of his life without a chance for parole. The 2019 murders were so horrific, extra mental health support was provided to first responders who had to process the crime scenes. The victims were either chopped up or beaten to death. Doctors at New York University Langone Health say a pig's kidney has functioned in a brain-dead human for 30 days now. Dr. Robert A. Montgomery says it could help bring an alternate, sustainable solution for Americans left waiting on the nation's transplant list.
There are over 100,000 people waiting for a human organ in the U.S., and only a third, sadly, will make it across the finish line.
30 days is the longest period that a gene-edited pig kidney has functioned in a human. Retail sales have risen again, and economists say that it could indicate the economy's stronger than many have forecasted. Rebecca Jarvis has more.
Our behavior powers about 2/3 of the entire $27 trillion U.S. economy. And despite challenges like higher credit card bills, American consumers keep spending.
Economists see these signs as more evidence we may have avoided a much-predicted recession, but they also predict that interest rates, that is the cost to borrow money, your credit card bills, will remain elevated at least through the end of the year. Breaking news out of D.C., the White House says President Biden and the First Lady will go to Hawaii on Monday as recovery efforts continue after devastating wildfires. Governor Josh Green gave an update on the death toll this morning.
106 fatalities as of last night. 27% of the ground has been covered, although many of the fatalities were on the road down by the sea. So the numbers will increase, but they will not increase, we hope, to further catastrophic proportions. We just don't know yet.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
All right, it's 11:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver, are you there?
I'm here, Brother Chris Hand.
All right, so how long have you known that Joe Biden was going to Hawaii? Was that before we made the bet that he wasn't going to go?
That came up this morning right before 8 o'clock.
Man. All right. Well, I apologize to everybody.
You got to call the bet now, huh?
Yeah, I feel like it was intentionally left out. Like people had inside info, and they just let it slide when I was around here in the studio making bets with people.
That's what you get, Jack.
All right. Well, check's in the mail. I'll pay you anyway. One place that the president never went, though he's very confident about it, was Pittsburgh during the bridge collapse during when school was out. Oh,
hey, Pittsburgh is a city of bridges. More bridges in Pittsburgh than any other city in America.
That's true.
I watched that bridge collapse. I got there and saw it collapse with over 200 feet off the ground, going over a valley. It collapsed. Thank God school was out.
So he's referencing a bridge collapse in 2022, and he did visit the scene of the Forbes Avenue bridge collapse in Frick Park in Pittsburgh, but the way he says it, it's just insane.
By the way, Pittsburgh is a city of bridges. More bridges in Pittsburgh than any other city in America. I watched that bridge collapse. I got there and saw it collapse with over 200 feet off the ground, going over a valley. It collapsed. Thank God school was out.
I mean, he wasn't wasn't there to watch it collapse. He just wasn't. It actually collapsed a few hours before his arrival in Pittsburgh for a pre-planned speech, and it was a 477-foot Forbes Avenue bridge. It injured multiple people, and Biden reportedly gave his speech 4 miles from the bridge and later visited the site of the damage. But he did not witness it collapse. That's just not true. But like with anything else with the president, are we shocked?
With over 200 feet off the ground, going over a valley. It collapsed. Thank God school was out.
Thank God. Thank God. Godspeed, President. But, this is what he does. He lied about that in his speech yesterday in Milwaukee. And he also repeated a debunked lie, a debunked story about the Amtrak conductor who told him that he traveled more miles on Amtrak than Air Force Two.
My wife called me one day and says, "Did you read the paper today?" And I was up campaigning for a guy named Pat Leahy in Vermont. I said, "No, honey, I didn't see the Wilmington paper." He said, "Headline, above the fold." Only a politician's wife would say that. "Biden, poorest man in Congress. Is that true?" Like I was cheating on her or something. But I was.
Like, who talks like that?
"Biden, poorest man in Congress. Is that true?" Like I was cheating on her or something. But I was.
Listen, I know he's referencing the fact that he's the poorest man, and I'm the poorest man. Like I was cheating on her, but I was. Like it's just another poor choice of words, and he's using it to set up a debunked lie, an absolutely debunked lie.
And I couldn't afford a house in Washington, and I couldn't afford a house in Delaware. If I sold my house in Delaware, I'd lose an election. So I started a commute. It's only 300 miles a day, but it still takes me an average of 4 hours beginning to end. And so what happened was when you travel as vice president on Air Force planes, they keep a precise number of miles you travel.
What happened was,
and I guess it was in my 6th year as vice president, there was a headline in the New York paper saying Biden travels almost 1,200,000 miles on Air Force planes, 1,200,000 or whatever.
Okay, so the story is, as the story goes, an Amtrak conductor tells him, "Oh, you traveled more than 1 million miles on a train," right? As he's finding out he traveled
on Air Force planes, 1,200,000 or whatever.
1,200,000 whatever. As he traveled 1,200,000 whatever miles on Air Force Two. Okay, you following?
I'm getting on a train one day. The Secret Service are the best in the world. They don't like me traveling on the train because there are too many opportunities for people to do bad things on trains.
Okay, that's a weird thing to say. The Secret Service doesn't like me traveling on the train because of all the opportunities to do bad things.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, trains are for poor people, you understand?
Secret Service are the best in the world. They don't like me traveling on the train because there are too many opportunities for people to do bad things on trains.
Yeah, well, and then people that stop bad things on trains like Daniel Penny, they get arrested. Weird.
And so I'm getting on a train to go home and see my mom, who was sick and in hospice at my home. And this guy, I won't mention his name because I will get him in trouble.
He's not going to get him in trouble because the man is dead.
But one of the senior guys in Amtrak who I rode with all the time.
That's not an audio problem. That's Joe Biden stuttering.
I rode with.
I had to double check.
I rode with all the time. Comes up and goes, "Joey, baby," grabs my cheek. Swear to God, I thought they were going to shoot him. And I said, no. I said, "What's the matter, Angie?" He said, I read this thing about over 1 million miles on Air Force planes. He said, "Hell, you know how many miles you travel on Amtrak?" I said, "No, Angie, I don't know." He said, "We just had a retirement dinner up in Newark." He said, "You traveled average 117 days a year, round trip, 300 miles a day. 36 years, that's 1,285,000 miles. I don't want to hear any more about the Air Force."
Okay. Now listen, this never happened. The conductor retired from Amtrak in 93, and he died in 2014, and Biden didn't reach a million miles on Air Force Two until 2015. So it just never happened. Just like how he witnessed the bridge collapse. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Spoiler alert. The president lied. I know you're shocked. I know this is probably hard for you to understand, but the president lied. Twice. Bullface lies. 615-737-9986 if you want to jump in on the super text line. 8403 just texted in and said, it's obvious that Jack Smith wasn't on site for the bridge collapse because he could have stopped it.
Yeah.
Geez. Special prosecutor Hack Smith reporting for duty. 9090 said, how did he get that close to Biden to grab his cheek? Well, 9090, you see, the thing about a lie is you make it all up. That's how. He said Secret Service was going to shoot him. That would have been fun. 6447 said, I guess that makes Biden a lying dog-faced pony soldier. It sure does.
Nice.
It sure does. He's the lyingest of all the dog-faced pony soldiers.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Oh, my gosh. This is so silly. He's such a silly guy. 7781, did you say bull-faced lies? No, I said bold-faced lies. Did I say it weird? Am I going to be accused of being Canadian again?
Here we go.
Here comes a stream of Chris's.
He gets sensitive, okay? Be nice.
I'm like a Canadian sleeper cell in FM talk radio in Nashville, just biding my time so I can steal all the maple syrup. But he had to focus on again why he was there at this speech in Milwaukee. It's because Bidenomics is working, and he's not going to raise anybody's taxes.
And unlike the last president, in my first 2 years in office, even with all we've done, I'm the first one to cut the federal debt by $1.7 trillion.
Yep, $1.7 trillion. I missed the tax one, but this is good too. Unlike the other president.
And unlike the last president, in my first 2 years in office.
Did I mention, folks, Orange Man bad?
Even with all we've done, I'm the first one to cut the federal debt by $1.7 trillion.
This is such a weird thing for him to hang his hat on. I've explained it a couple times. I will explain it again if you haven't listened. He did not cut the debt by $1.7 trillion. He didn't. He let $2 trillion in COVID funding expire on time, $2 trillion, and then he added $300 billion to the debt, and that's where they got the 1.7 number.
By $1.7 trillion. $1.7 trillion cut.
Everybody, woo! Yeah! Orange man bad.
Woo!
It's just crazy. These people don't know. If you're going to a Biden speech, you've probably never heard any of these stories before. You don't pay attention to what's actually going on in the world unless you're going for the comedic value, which I would be inclined to do. If there was a Biden speech in Nashville, I may go because it's going to be hilarious. Yeah, he's the first one to cut that debt. Okay, awesome. Great stuff, Joe. At the end, he says his goodbyes, and then he gets lost.
May God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
And then he's lost. Then he doesn't know where to go. Classic Joe. He wasn't the only one making the rounds yesterday. Kamala Harris is making the rounds too. And guys, I didn't realize how serious the climate crisis is.
So all of that to say, it is clear the clock is not just ticking, it is banging. And that is why 1 year ago, President Biden and I made the largest climate investment in America's history.
If they made the investment a year ago, how come the climate isn't fixed?
I mean, I just needed to know that the clock was banging. I mean, that really woke me up.
I didn't know it was that serious.
No, I didn't either. I just thought it was ticking. Kamala, yet again.
She's probably going to say that a million times now. Like, she probably was like, yo, that line hit.
That was a banger.
And literally. And we need to use that more.
So all of that to say, it is clear the clock is not just ticking, it is banging.
She got off the stage, looked at her speechwriter. She's like, yo, that line crushed.
That hits.
Crushed. That line let me know what could be, and it was unburdened by what has been. And then they invest all that money. I don't know. We're still dealing with a climate crisis. Why did we invest the money if we still have a climate crisis? So crazy. It's crazy. But the wind and solar investments, delivering a lot of electricity to a lot of people.
Electricity from wind and solar farms in the Arizona desert, delivered to people millions of miles away, potentially, well, certainly thousands of miles away.
Ugh. It sounds like it's a canned laugh. Like, it sounds like it's the same laugh every time. Like this awkward, nervous laugh.
Bit of a typo there. But delivered to millions of people.
At least she acknowledged the typo. I'll give her credit where credit's due.
Yeah, give her that one.
I mean, Biden, he just hits his flubs and he keeps going. And at least Kamala acknowledges it, because Biden doesn't say a bit of a typo after this line.
But then, when I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again, which
bit of a typo.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Bit of a typo, folks.
Miswrote that one. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how you probably couldn't sell that as a typo.
When I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again.
What? That's great.
Bit of a typo there.
Oh, Kamala. I mean, but listen, she just thinks that we're dumb. She just thinks we're dumb. They all think we're dumb. Maybe we are. Maybe, spoiler alert, maybe we are the midwits. It could be. That could be true. But, energy and lowering costs. Listen, guys, that's the priority around here.
Think about what this means. And for the president and me, one of our highest priorities then has been to lower energy costs.
Yep. That's the highest priority. Lowering energy costs. Just write that one down. That's at the top of the list. It is 11:19 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Join the show, 615-737-9986. 4295 texted and said, Kamala's Jeffrey Dahmer laugh.
Seriously.
It does sound like Jeffrey Dahmer. He sounds like a psychopath. 3455 said, do you think his word flubs are code?
Oh.
Do you think his word flubs are code?
When I signed the bipartisan infrastructure again, which
I don't know. That would we'd be giving him a lot of credit to be able to speak in code. It's 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Got a mass murder plea deal here in Middle Tennessee and an organ donation breakthrough. These stories and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 11:24 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You know, we just learned that the clock on the climate crisis. I just
typo.
Pulled a Biden. Yeah, it's a typo. Pulled a Biden. It's not just ticking, you guys. It's banging.
So all of that to say, it is clear the clock is not just ticking, it is banging.
You know, me and Mac make jokes, but I think it's important to have the super texters, reel us back in sometimes on the super text line, 615-737-9986. Like a lot of people pointed out on the super text line, Kamala knows a thing or two about banging. So,
yeah, multiple people made that clear.
I think we were at like 24 people.
We had 6929 said too many rule breaking laughs.
Well, all right. Let's listen. Let's point out the fact of the laugh, okay? The rule is
it is true.
The rule is we don't play old laughs.
Yep.
Okay. We play new laughs.
We can't help it if she just chooses to laugh.
This is news.
Bit of a typo there. But delivered to millions of people.
All right, yeah. Delivering laughter to millions of people. 8064 says, it's based, boys.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of text just saying, Willie. I don't know. Here's a story, Mac, that you're probably all in on since you're a sports guy.
Okay, here we go.
Somebody made a comment on my Chief Wahoo hat. Okay?
Yeah.
So I want to point out that the Cleveland Indians, because I'm wearing a Chief Wahoo Cleveland Indians hat today. I went to a Cleveland Indians game with my wife years ago, and I said to her, I want to buy this hat before they ban it. She's like, they're not going to ban that logo. Okay. Well, I can buy the hat now, or I can buy it for twice as much on eBay later.
At least, yeah.
So I bought the hat. Spoiler alert. The Indians became the Cleveland Indians in 1915 to honor former player Louis Sockalexis. He was the first Native American professional in professional baseball, okay? That's how they got the Cleveland Indians moniker. Wow. And now we're seeing a petition to change the Washington Commanders back to the Redskins. Have you seen that?
Whoa, from fans?
From not just fans, okay? A petition to change it back is from a Native Americans effort group.
Whoa.
They have 100,000 signatures on this petition to change its name back to the original Redskins name. And it's gaining traction, and it's because everybody's against cancel culture.
Man.
Cancel culture.
That's huge. That's massive.
So, fun fact for those of you keeping score at home, I also have a Redskins jersey that I bought when I knew that was going to get banned. I have a large collection of banned memorabilia. So this is what they said. The name Redskins carries deep cultural, historical, and emotional significance, honoring the bravery, resilience, and warrior spirit associated with Native American culture. That's what the Native American Group Efforts petition states. It was never intended as a derogatory or offensive term, but as a symbol of respect and admiration. I love it. Bring it back. It's like Trump once said, we don't name these teams after symbols of weakness. We name the teams after symbols of strength.
Yeah.
Would you bring it back? Would you be a fan of that?
Yeah, I'd be down. I mean, if people are voting for it, they're going to change the name after this season anyway. So just go back.
Bring it back. But they'll probably
anything's better than Commanders.
They'll probably change it to something new, so that way they can get more money and more sales. But they said changing the name abruptly disregards the positive legacy that the Redskins name built over the years and disorients the passionate fans who have invested their emotions, time, and unwavering support in the team. So I'm a fan of it. I want to go on record. Bring back the Redskins. Bring them back. Bring them back.
People are talking about naming them the Red Wolves.
Ugh.
What? Why?
Just do what you were doing.
Yeah, you had it. You had a name for years, decades.
Like, I just don't understand it. Just don't apologize to the woke mob. Like, nope, not changing it, moving on. Like, next question. That's how they should have handled all of that. Jason texted in, Jeffrey Dahmer also had a large collection of banned memorabilia. Thanks, Jason.
Jason.
8602 said, I would love to see the Redskins name return along with Chief Wahoo and the Indians return to Cleveland. Yes, we all would. 2714 sent in HTTR, hail to the Redskins. Listen, I don't see anything wrong with bringing back the name. I, for one, support it. Bring it back. Bring it back. 9214 said, yes, bring back the Redskins. The Cowboys will still kick their ass. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in Tennessee, a Sumner County man has agreed to a deal with prosecutors and will avoid the death penalty. The Tennessean says 30-year-old Michael Cummins will do life in prison without parole after pleading guilty this morning in the 2019 murders of 8 people, including family members. Encouraging news for the hundreds of thousands of Americans on an organ donation waiting list. Doctors at NYU Langone Health say a pig's kidney, modified so it's not rejected, has worked for the longest period yet after being placed in a patient who is brain dead.
We've maintained the decedent with support after removing his native kidneys for over a month to study the function of a gene-edited pig kidney.
Right now, only a third of the 103,000 patients are able to receive donated human organs, so this could enable patients to hang on longer. The death toll from the Hawaii wildfires is up to 106, with search teams still sifting through the ashes of what's left behind. The president and first lady go there Monday. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, Paul Winkler here. One of the things that we see from time to time, well, way too often, is this. Let's say that you go to a financial advisor and they say, hey, you need to set up an investment portfolio, and what we need to do is we need to have some of your money in stocks or mutual funds or ETFs or something like that, and we need to have something fixed or guaranteed in your investment portfolio that'll protect you against the market downturns. And quite often what they're talking about, they may not use this word, but often what they're talking about is putting your money into some sort of an annuity, like an indexed annuity or something like that, or a fixed annuity. And what they're doing is they're saying, hey, let's put your money in both of these, which sounds really good. And you should. And typically in an investment portfolio, you do want to have fixed investments and stocks as well in the portfolio to protect against inflation. But here's what happens when you manage a portfolio. Let me use a really, really simple example. Let's say I have a portfolio and I got stocks in there. Then I have my fixed income, my bonds in the portfolio as well. And let's say I have half my money in each. When stocks really do well, what we want to do is they're going to be overweighted in my portfolio. I own too much of them because they've done well compared to bonds. It was supposed to be half and half, and now maybe it's 70% stocks and 30% bonds, let's say, or something like that. So I want to sell some of this and buy some of that to bring it back to 50-50 and back and forth throughout time. Well, the problem is when you're managing a portfolio and rebalancing in that way, bringing it back to the original portfolio mix of half and half in my example, I'm going to have to incur a trading cost or a commission or a back-end surrender with the annuity. It doesn't make any sense to use that product in this particular manner. Why do people do it? Well, the reason quite often is this. Commissions are very high with these products. And a lot of firms, they actually require their advisors to recommend a certain amount of annuities for every person that walks in the door. Now, typically annuities are used for a different purpose. They were actually designed for a totally different purpose. And that was distribution toward the end of life. When somebody looks like they're going to run out of money, they're annuitized. Now, let me tell you something. One study showed there was only like 5% of annuities are ever used in that fashion. Most often they're sold as an accumulation vehicle like this, and they were never really designed for that purpose. If you want to learn more, call us for a free 15-minute phone call, or go to our website, paulwinkler.com. The number 615-851-1950 or paulwinkler.com. We don't do anything on commission, and we like to rail against these types of things and help investors do what is in their best interest. paulwinkler.com.
Hey, it's Chris Hand for the Dr. Gill Center. Listen, don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill. I know so many people that were prescribed a ridiculous amount of pills and then subsequently dealt with opioid addiction. Family, friends, it's awful. It's not something that you want to see happen to your family or friends or yourself. And at the Dr. Gill Center, no pills are necessary. That's why I'm such a big supporter of them. No matter what pain you're dealing with, back, neck, knee, hip, elbow, all of that can be treated with no needles and no downtime. At the Dr. Gill Center, they've been helping people get back to pain-free life for over 30 years. And right now, the Dr. Gill Center is extending you a special offer if you're suffering with pain and looking for non-surgical solutions. So here's the deal. $49 will get you all of your new patient initial exams, x-ray, and a complete review of your findings. Less than $50 to find out what's causing your pain. Give the Dr. Gill Center in Franklin a call now and begin your journey in becoming pain-free. Call 615-882-4838. That's 615-882-4838. And tell them Chris Hand told you to call. Don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. It is 11:36 on Super Talk. Mac Maury in the building. That's my producer. And the third man in is you on the Super Text line. We were talking about the Washington Commanders changing their name again, which they're going to be changing it after the end of the season. Either way.
Change it again. Yeah, either way.
And there's a petition out where they want them to change it back to the Redskins. It's a Native American group pushing this petition. They have 100,000 signatures. But, oh my gosh, the super text. You guys kill me.
So funny.
Scott texted in and said, how about we change it to the Pink Fuzzy Bunnies? Can you imagine being beaten by the Pink Fuzzy Bunnies?
And the Pink Fuzzy Bunnies take the game.
I don't know, guys. We got a tough one against the Fuzzy Bunnies this week. And it would be short. Yeah, it would be shortened to FUBUs.
Oh, that's great.
The Washington FUBUs.
That is better than Commanders, though.
Much better.
Literally, it is. That's how bad that name is.
100%. And the marketing opportunities are just they're there for themselves. Yes. 0467 said the Washington Fairies, in keeping with today's culture.
Yeah, that's about accurate.
It'd be whimsical. It would be whimsical. A floater from the Fairies quarterback. 8548 said, this is just another example of white liberals speaking for people who they don't know and whom they don't have the best interests of the group involved. Only liberal biases. It's so true. It's like a Malcolm X quote out there. It's like the most dangerous thing is a white liberal. Absolutely accurate. Absolutely accurate. Chris texted and said, call them the pork skins. It's offensive to pigs, Chris.
Come on, man.
It's offensive.
Jeez.
All right. Well, and what was I saw another one. Oh, 8335 said, while we're bringing things back, can we bring back the Indian woman on the Land O'Lakes butter so I can show my son how to do the totally inappropriate fold-in trick? Does everybody remember that fold-in trick? Mac, you didn't know what it was?
I didn't know what this was. Yeah, you had to explain this to me.
Yep. I told Mac that he should Google it on a non-work computer.
Yeah, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a little bit.
You could fold it, and then her knees would look like her chest.
10-year-old Chris. He's like, oh, boobies.
That was the first pair of boobs 10-year-old Chris saw. Was on the Land O'Lakes butter trick.
Nice.
Yep. I remember it was like an eye opener. I was like, this is a game changer.
This has changed my life.
This is a game changer. It's so funny though. They cancel everything. Aunt Jemima's canceled. Uncle Ben is canceled.
Gone.
It's like all of this stuff gets canceled, and the only person left is the white guy from the oatmeal box.
That's so true.
It's like, oh, all of this in the name of fairness, and now we only have white spokes guys left.
White guy.
Yeah. So weird. Kevin said the Washington Snowflake Commanders. 4481 said the Caucasians. Yep. The Crackers.
2529 said, of course, my kid's first year in the Little League, we were the Guardians.
Oh.
Dang.
Should have got him a Wahoo hat and say, we're the Indians now. Look at me.
Another one. Guardians. I mean, all right. Whatever.
What about the Chiefs, Mac?
Don't touch it.
Would you want them to? 5275 says, what about the Chiefs? Don't touch the Chiefs.
Don't touch that. Heck no.
But you guys have like the arm thing. Is that you guys?
Yeah.
That's so racist.
Yep, tomahawk chop.
Yep, completely racist.
But that is something I thought about. I mean, I think that's going to happen.
It has to.
It's going to happen.
In the name of progress, my friend.
Yeah, of course.
In the name of progress.
And that'll be a very sad day for me.
Yep. It's coming.
Yeah, I know.
Get your memorabilia now.
Oh, gosh.
You guys don't have an offensive mascot, though, right?
No, Casey Wolf.
Okay.
Pretty sure wolves are good.
For now.
For now. Just wait.
For now. For now, until the furry culture gets a hold of you for appropriating things. Oh my gosh, the furry culture is the weirdest thing. You've heard of furries, right?
Oh gosh, yes.
So when I lived in Pittsburgh, they have a furry convention every year.
Oh, that's terrifying.
So if you don't know what furries are, it's adults that dress up in like these cartoon-esque costumes and pretend to be like dogs and cats.
Another thing to not Google on the work computer.
Don't Google it on the work computer.
Oh gosh.
So, but it gets so weird in Pittsburgh during this furry convention that restaurants offer food specials in dog bowls. I know this is like the second time we talked about Pittsburgh today. The first was Joe Biden when the bridge collapsed. If you missed that, here it is. Oh. This is Joe Biden on the bridge collapse.
By the way, Pittsburgh is a city of bridges. More bridges in Pittsburgh than any other city in America. I watched that bridge collapse. I got there and saw it collapse with over 200 feet off the ground going over a valley. It collapsed. Thank God school was out.
Thank God. School is usually in session during the furry convention. Also, thank God, because you don't want the kids to see all the furries walking around. And again, it gets so weird in Pittsburgh during this furry convention that they have every year that they have food specials at restaurants where the food is in like dog bowls. And then do you want to hear even the weirder part?
Okay.
Are you sure you want to hear it?
I guess.
The hotels supply litter boxes.
Oh.
100%.
What?
These are things I didn't want to have to know.
It's disgusting.
But if I have to know it, you have to know it. Furry culture is degenerate. I think it should be banned. 4083 said, "Are you sure Biden wasn't in Pittsburgh for the furry convention?" I don't know. He just may have been. Gosh. Terrible.
Come on, man.
Disgusting.
We don't know. He may have.
I don't know.
We don't know. The furry stuff is so weird. All right, radio transition. There's a lot of weird things going on. Donald Trump facing his fourth indictment. That's the big story of the day. We also have Maui happening in Lahaina, the wildfires. And apparently Joe Biden is going to be visiting. He was mocked and shamed into going to visit, and they will be heading there on Monday. He just said yesterday he wasn't sure when he would be going because he didn't want to get in the way. He'd been to so many disaster sites, was his exact words at his speech in Milwaukee. So many. It's amazing. His polling numbers must be so bad, and they must be looking at this going, guys, we can't have another East Palestine incident on our hand, because that's what we're looking at. And your numbers are so bad that they're just going to start doing anything he's relentlessly mocked for. So when people are mad at him, I envision that moving forward, he's going to immediately react and change his course of action, which could be a good thing. I don't want to say that's a bad thing, because all we have to do is keep mocking the man. Keep making fun of him, keep calling him out on his BS, and then he'll go. So he is going to Hawaii. The scene in Hawaii, in Maui, was insane. I played this on the show yesterday. I want to make sure you heard it just in case you haven't. This, we get these stories, and it seems like, oh, it's a wildfire, it's a disaster, and it kind of takes the human element out of it. And it doesn't really paint the picture of what exactly was happening on the ground. So I have this audio here of a man who is in the wildfire in Lahaina describing exactly what happened on the ground.
It was a firestorm. I know, but there was tornadoes of ash the size of charcoal from a barbecue, like being thrown by baseball players.
It was a tornado of ash with charcoal from a barbecue being thrown by baseball players. What a way to paint the picture. It sounds absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
I'm ducking behind walls. I had to kick in the door at Bubba Gump's to get out of it because I was getting pounded. Yeah. And then Bubba Gump started on fire, and I'm running down Front Street, and the wall, there's like 80 people, and the ocean was on fire. Firefighter told me because the first layer of ash causes the seal. And then the next layer of ash was all the embers. So the tide line was on fire and I had to jump through the water.
Do you hear that? The ocean was on fire. So the first layer of the ocean gets covered with ash. The next layer is all the embers. So the tide line of the ocean is on fire. So think about that. You think that people are running and jumping into the water, right? But no, they are jumping through the fire to reach safety in Lahaina.
And come up through the fire, and 80 people, they were on the wall. Everybody started jumping in. Coast Guard was out there grabbing people, and I was like, no, I'm good. I was born in the water. I'm caught. And they're grabbing people, and I swam. I knew my phone was only good for like 15 seconds being submerged, then swam for like a half mile north. It was like nothing you've ever seen.
It doesn't sound like anything I've ever seen. A tornado of fire with charcoal-sized embers being thrown by baseball players, having to dive into the ocean through a layer of fire to save yourself. It's insane. And of course, the conspiracy theorists on the internet, I don't blame you. Everybody's, talking about what's going to happen after all of this. And now the Hawaii governor is saying the state is looking to acquire the land that was destroyed in fires. So this was yesterday. Hawaiian Governor Josh Green announced that his administration is considering acquiring properties in the seaside resort town of Lahaina that has been destroyed by recent wildfires. This is what he said. This is the exact quote. He says he's vowing to prevent foreign buyers from swooping in to exploit the tragedy, and says that the state is better suited to take control, but it seems like the state is swooping in to exploit the tragedy. This is what he says. I'm already thinking of ways for the state to acquire that land so we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial to the people who were lost. Seems all well and good from his statement, but the conspiracy theories online have been that this portion of land was being held out by the locals, not selling, because it was the most valuable real estate in Maui, and that they didn't want to sell. And then this fire comes, and everybody's jumping on the bandwagon to acquire that land. And it's going to be tough. I can't imagine trying to rebuild after a fire in this climate with Bidenomics and rampant inflation. By the time you get your insurance settlement check, inflation's going to have it kicked up so much that what they cut you a check for, it isn't going to cover. I mean, we saw that. We saw that in Mount Juliet after the tornadoes. People lost their home to a tornado, and then they get an insurance check. Then the pandemic hit, and inflation got so bad that by the time that they could get people to rebuild their home, what the insurance company had cut them for a check wasn't enough to rebuild their home. So then what are you to do? You got to sell. It's crazy. It's sad. I feel for them. I pray for the people in Lahaina, pray for the people in Maui, because this is just tragic. It is devastating what is happening in Hawaii. And, it's going to be a long time before they rebuild. It's going to be a long time before anything gets back to normal there. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. It is 11:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Feel free to join the show, 615-737-9986. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:55 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I love that it's only 11:55. That means I get even more time with my best friend, Matt Murphy. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Chris Hand. I feel like I've recently seen you. Oh, yesterday and last night. What a great event.
Dude, that was awesome.
I want to dispel a few rumors here, Hand. I was not close-talking your wife.
I knew this was coming.
I mean, they're all this morning on the Nashville, they're all making it all skeevy. I introduced myself. We talked a little about you. I got some dirt on you, and all is well. That's all. And not all heroes wear capes, Mac Maury. Are you listening to me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Not all heroes wear capes there, pal.
Yes!
All right. Let me give the backstory.
Thank you so much.
So last night, Mac Maury leaves to go play video games at home.
True.
That is absolute truth.
Very
exactly
NPC of Mac Maury. He goes home to play Fortnite because his girlfriend was out. So he had an opportunity. He seized it.
Yes,
I'll give you credit for that. But he texted me. He goes, bro. This is a text. Hold on. Let me read the text. Let me read the exact text.
By the way, I guarantee you it began with bro.
Hold on. Bro. I left my water bottle there.
Bruh.
Can you please get it? Hold on. It gets better. It's a black bottle. Extremely unbased. That's what he wrote. Extremely unbased. It's on the table next to the host table.
Side note, not black.
I wrote, dude, I'm so sorry. I left. I'm just seeing this. Also unbased. Murphy is still there.
Completely. You know what? If I had known,
And then I blew up Murphy's
If
phone.
I had known that there was a lot of based talk going on, I would have thrown this thing in the trash.
That's very unbased.
It would have been on brand.
That's not based.
Not based at all, bro.
No, but the last night was so much fun.
It's good.
J Street Korean Grill and Bar was awesome. We have the best listeners, period. The greatest people listen to Super Talk 99.7.
And so many of you came up to Chris, said hello, came up to Matt Murphy, said hello. We love you, each and every one of you. Thank you. If I didn't talk to you, I'm sorry. I apologize, but I tried to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've never seen, I don't know if this is a new thing and I just don't get out very much, but I've never seen the concept that the J Street folks were bringing with the cooking at the tables and the way that they were doing and the way they brought things out to folks. I've never seen it, and I'm sure that you'll tell me, oh, this has been going on here, there, everywhere.
I love the concept.
Love it.
It's so cool. You got like the fire pit basically right in the middle of your table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like fondue for meat eaters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Love it.
Carnivore fondue.
So tasty and delicious.
It was great.
And yes, I challenged after I did not eat, but I did have a delicious lemon. What was it? A lemon drop martini.
Ooh,
that was bought for me.
Sounds fancy.
It was my little pinky finger was out when I was drinking it.
All right,
and that led me to re-challenge Dan Mandis to pickleball.
They were wondering how your knee healed up so quickly, and I said it must have been the lemon drop martini.
Yeah, man. No, I told Mandis it's not that it's healed. I have confidence that I can beat you on one leg. That's what it is. Hey, we've got
you got a big show.
Speaking of based, we got Alice Rowley on and Governor Bill Lee.
Oh, which one's based?
I don't think either of them are based. I was just trying to connect it somehow.
Oh.
Yeah, in the 1 o'clock hour. So that should be good. Mayor's race and the governor's special session. We'll hear from them.
Super Talk 99.7.